first met Fedde when I was touring Australia about a year ago, and he was doing exactly the same festivals that I was doing. And after each of my DJ sets, I was like, what should I do now, you know? So I go and listen to Fedde, and I was in the crowd dancing and getting very much into what he was doing.
I think it's a phenomenon in all fairness. I remember signing Just Tripping maybe a year before Put Your Hands Up come out. We had the record, we were sitting on it, we wasn't sure what we should do as far as the plot was concerned. Then all of a sudden, from nowhere, I mean, we were fortunate to pick the track up for nothing. I mean, crikey, picking a Fedde Grand record up for nothing now was never going to happen. So we had the record, we were sitting on it, and all of a sudden he went from somewhere to absolutely enormous. So he's a worldwide phenomenon. And what I like about Fedde, his feet are totally on the ground, you know, he handles it incredibly well. So I've got the utmost respect for him in all fairness. So then when you want to stay and you want to play, some gigs you like, some gigs you like.
When I think about, I don't know, like 14 or something, we had this like mobile disco thing with some friends. It wasn't like really serious, but I just loved it, and I think like the whole DJ passion started from there. There wasn't any mixing going on yet, but I mean, and actually my first, well, not my first, but one of my like side jobs next to school was actually DJing in like a small bar, and I did like the Friday afternoon when all the kids like came from school and like had some drinks and would dance and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just came from Extreme and so now this one, then the after party, but you're doing an after party. We have one more tomorrow at the beach with Moby.
Oh yeah.
And then one more tomorrow in the city.
I think my first gig was, I don't know, like all the way down south in Holland, and I had no driver's license, and the only person who was able to drive me was actually my mother.
Love Parade, 10-minute set, fucking rocked the whole place. The street went fucking crazy, and you know why? The man with a master plan, my right-hand man, Fedde Grand.
So I went there, and I think it was like a singles night or whatever. I don't remember, and it was horrible, but I didn't really care because it was like my first official booking, and I didn't care how people looked like or whatever. So yeah, I think that was my first like official paid booking here.
Freddie, can you describe the sort of set that you played for us today, the style?
I think it's maybe slightly different from what I normally do.
I think that's the really cool thing about playing abroad, is that you never know exactly what you gonna get, and there are like differences between different countries, sometimes different states. I mean, there are a lot more variables than when you just play in the same country. So for me, it was great to just keep my interest, and I'm like still nervous for every gig. I mean, of course you're not as nervous as you used to be, but I still feel, well, maybe not nervous, but a little bit of excitement every time I turn up at a gig. So I think it's great.
Just behind the dance tent, and fresh
from his set. We've got Fedde Legrand, he's busy at the moment, we're just going about to catch a quick one with him. Fedde, how did it go for you?
Yeah, even though it was like quite early, I really liked it. And I think it was really good.
And what was the reaction to the crowd like?
Yeah, I think it was really good. I mean, when it started, it was so-so. I mean, everybody was still coming in, but I think like after 15 minutes, like the rhythm was feel pretty good. So, and yeah, I mean, I just love England. I mean, all the how do you call it, like the chanting stuff, and I really like it.
New to this house genre, yeah, and Fedde is one of the first one we heard, and now it's been like 1.5, 2 years almost into this genre, and still I'm like, he is the man, he's the best. I really love his stuff. He's like old school funk combined with new house, and yeah, it just warms my heart.
You recently had the hit with Ida Cole.
Yeah, true, that's the last single I did, and now I just went in the studio to work on my album, my artist album. Which is finished finally. Well, it's always like very difficult, but I think it's really cool. I did a new single with Ida, a new single with Camille. I did a collaboration with the Stereo MCs, collaboration with Will I Am, some really talented Dutch guys, and it basically goes from like really underground stuff to almost like more like pop music stuff and like everything in between.
I think an album should be just fun to listen to. It has to have like different kinds of influences, styles, because the albums I always loved were the albums from Daft Punk, Groove Armada, Basement Jaxx, that kind of stuff, and it was always more than just intro beats, the track, outro beats. So I actually skipped most of the in and outro beats and just like the core of the track and stuff like that. So it's really an artist album instead of like a house album or whatever. And yeah, maybe it's slightly poppy. I don't know, but I think it's just cool and fun music.
It's the FLG sound. It's not pop music, but it's house music with a twist. It's real crunchy, real groovy sound. Yeah. The flow of Fedde's beats and bass lines are in a certain rhythmic thing that I haven't heard anyone doing the same rhythmics than he does.
I heard quite a few things now. Good thing is the identity of Fedde is there through the sound, the beats, the direction. It's its own direction. It doesn't really look like anything else. So that's all good. Then then the people will make it what they make it, of any record, of any album. But congratulations for the accomplishment. It's extremely hard to do an album.
Making an album is all about self-expression. I mean, I'm talking from experience because I've done 3 albums already, and it's always difficult, because people expect a lot of things from when you've had commercial success from singles, but to have a successful artist album, whether it is a big album or not, it's all about how you feel about the reason why you made music.
A good dance track is 7 minutes long and very repetitive, and you don't necessarily want to listen to a 7-minute long repetitive track at home. Yeah. You tend to want something a little more melodic and atmospheric.
She got a big old butt. I like the way she move it. Her feet on butt of her. Girl, you know what's moving. Girl, you's a man with jammer. You make this boy go loco. Let me whip out my camera so I can take your photo.
I think Fedde Legrand is he's like a monster. He's a monster on the beats. He's a monster on the decks. I think out of all the house DJs and beat makers, he's like one of the top cats.